Hello and welcome back to Common Sense for Relationships. We are so happy to have you with us today. And welcome to the month of May, by the way. It's May. I mean, this year is just flying like.
Well, let me to join my voice and say hello and welcome.
Yes. Welcome to Common Sense for Relationships. We are so happy that we are in your space today. And once again, we are on a different set, but I mean, wherever we
on
are.
a different location.
But yes.
In the universe of Earth.
Exactly. We're somewhere on the planet.
Somewhere very high.
And this is the beauty of technology. That wherever you are, you can still get on and reach out to your people. So yes, good evening everybody, or good night everybody, depending on where you are, or good afternoon, or depends on where. Good morning, I guess. It's
morning somewhere. Yes.
It's morning.
Yes. Hey, Deborah.
Yeah. Hi, Debbie.
Good evening. Good evening.
Debbie, how are you doing?
Good evening. And where we are, it's actually almost morning. It's 11 p.m.
11 p.m.
Yes. So it's almost morning, but we still got to do what we gotta do.
Yes, what we gotta do. So how was the holiday? I mean, that holiday was
oh boy,
fantastic.
It was epic.
I was hoping for that extra day, but it didn't happen. Kept waiting for the government to change their mind again. But
Oba Yusuf is asking, what's the topic today? Oba, you're right on. You're right on.
Topic.
Let me flash the topic. The topic. This is what we are talking about. Yes.
The topic is when
love hurts.
Yes, when love hurts. In fact, and it's a good time for you to tell your friends, your loved ones, just share the link. Tell them we are talking about something really hot, because I mean, sometimes when we start going into the issues that people face in love relationships, some people are like, what, like really, like, oh,
And the thing is, I said in this particular instance, even me, I carried my biro. Hey, I left my biro.
You wanted to take notes.
I wanted to take notes because me too, I'm here to learn. So as we are talking, when they are seeing the place where it's love, I'm writing it down. So if you see me writing something, don't worry, I'm taking notes too.
Yes. So please share
the link.
And we'd like to remind you, while we're going through this, if you get value, when you hear that point that is fantastic, that is literally something, just like type
it in,
and when
leave
we're
a
all
comment,
done, subscribe if you haven't done so already.
Subscribe is there if you're using YouTube, it's one red something. Just press it, boom. But if you're also using YouTube, you can see Aniette's face, the fine face sitting next to me. Just press it, you subscribe, and then whatever we do, in fact, there's a bell. Whatever we do, whenever we're shooting something, it's going to get to you.
Yes. So now you see, the issue is, whenever we start talking about love, what are the first thoughts that come?
As a church somebody, the first thing you think about is love is patient, love is kind, love envieth not, love suffereth long. Love is the next best thing after fried rice.
And as a Walt Disney person, or as a romantic comedy person,
I don't do romantic
you are
comedy.
thinking that it's going to be happily ever after.
Yes, the one that pains me.
Yes.
The one that pains me is that when they do all this thing, it is at the point where they say happily ever after that they now end the thing. They just close that door and they write happily ever after. Meanwhile, that's where the story is beginning. Do you understand?
Yes, but I guess it goes to tell you that you have to imagine it, because in reality,
You have to find your own reality.
yes, in reality it might be a bit
Okay.
problematic. Yeah, but the thing is, some people just think that this whole love thing is just butterflies and chemistry, lovey-dovey, everything rosy, bed of roses and stuff, But then you find out that it's not that thought. When you come to the reality of the matter, you will find that some people who once upon a time said they are in love and all these wonderful things are happening, and oh, in fact, I don't know where he's been all my life, and so on and so forth. Like in fact, I found my soulmate, the perfect person. And so on. Sometime later, somebody will come and start telling you stories about betrayal, disappointment, abuse, and so on and so forth. And you're just wondering what was going on
So
here.
sometimes it seems almost as if love doesn't last. As in it's made in China.
Or if I want to start using the examples we're using, the bed of roses, the thorns will now start coming out
because the bed is going down. The foam is going down. No, so but what I'm hearing you say, is that get as you go down.
You have to explain that one, because when there are some degrees of pidgin that I need translation for.
All right, because you express somebody.
Yeah, because when they say things like get as they do. I don't know what were you saying.
Okay, let me try again. So what I'm hearing you say is that anyhow you do it, love will hurt. There will be pain
somewhere along the line.
Why?
Because you see, the fact is that even if you have two perfect people, two perfect,
if two of us are angel,
one perfect, the other perfect, and then you now bring them together, according to you, that's the issue. That's where the issue is. So let's not even go to the external factors. So let's talk about the people, just the two people. The issue is that you have two different people. You have two separate entities. Their backgrounds are different, right? They formed their ideologies, their beliefs, their behaviors, all of those things, their value systems. They formed them in isolation. When you were forming your own, I was not there.
No.
And when I was forming my own, you were not there.
Okay.
Yes, the experiences that these two people had that added up to make them who they are, right, are varied, are different. So when they now come together, you are expecting that they will become a unit, a family. In fact, in the unit, you come about unity, and you're expecting that they should live happily and blissfully and everything should be fine. But they are completely different. So whether you like it or not, at one point or the other, something will happen that this person's view is different from the other person's view.
So love will always have some hurt somewhere.
And this hurt we're talking about is different degrees of because the hurt may just be that, oh, right now I feel upset because I wanted to do it this way, but you said we should do it the other way, and that I now had to move from my initial position, so it hurts a bit. It still hurts, hurt. The hurt might also be a very serious one. Like one person said this, the other person said the other one, and then one person, to make sure that what they want happens, decides to throw some punches.
So if we're looking at it, we're saying that hurts happen, but sometimes and the degrees vary. Yes. And you can go from mildly annoying to
seriously aggressive. Or life-threatening stuff. I mean, there are different levels. And so this is why people need to know this. People need to know this and stop living with that idea that, oh, everything is going to be perfect. There will be no issue at all because the guy I have found is wonderful. Whether that guy is wonderful or not, different things will happen that will bring about some degree of hurt, even if it is not directly from the guy. External factors will add their own share. So you just have to be prepared for that. But it doesn't mean that, okay, we're not going to get married, we're not going to fall in love, we're not going to do anything with anybody. No, it's just like other issues in life. It's just like other issues in life. I mean, everything in life is a risk. Everything in life has some degree of risk. Right? And look at an example like drinking water. You can choke, Abby. Some people choke on just drinking water. Or you're eating food and then somehow you choke on the food. Some people choke to the point of death just from eating food. Or bone will now miss road and enter somewhere. Even walking, just walk from here to there. You could trip. You could slip and fall down. That's just walking, or something as simple as walking. Okay, what about swimming? That one, somebody saying, nah, swimming, the water is bigger by default, there's a risk, you can drown. But you see, even we started from the very simple things. In fact, even while you're talking, if you don't control how you're talking well, you choke on your you can choke on your own, when you say, oh, the saliva went the wrong way, or the air went the wrong way and stuff, just everything. So what do? You learn to manage those things. You manage the risks. You take certain precautions. You do certain things to make sure that negative outcome doesn't materialize, or even if it does, it's minimum. So that's why you see maybe a child is running, calm down, don't run so fast.
Okay.
That's why we have brakes on cars.
I know, Baby. There's somewhere that
it's as if your mind is going in one place like that.
No, it's not just that. Is that for me, when I see the title and you say love, and you say love hurts, I begin to think, what should young people expect? Because if your first point is that because there are no perfect people, love will hurt, right?
At some point,
because there are no perfect people.
In fact, at many tiny points, or sometimes at some significant points, and then many tiny.
So sometimes there's a build up, sometimes it's just one event, sometimes, but there will be hurts that happen in love. So because there are no perfect people. Now, the next, for me, I'm thinking, okay, if hurts will occur, should people then be afraid to fall in love? Because the whole concept of love places a kind of demand on people that actually exposes them to hurt.
And now it's just like drinking water. Should people be afraid of drinking water? No, you should just be careful. So people should not be afraid of falling in love. People should not be afraid of love, and people should not be afraid of marriage. People should just learn to put the necessary precautions in place to at least minimize your risk. It's not going to take it away, but it will minimize it. So, for instance, if you want to employ somebody, will you just go to the street and pick anybody? No. You have something to screen. Example, check CV. Is the person qualified? And check some other things. Or you want to hire a nanny for your family. You won't just go and carry anybody because they said person can cook, can clean, and can take care of children. You will go and do medical screening.
Okay.
Do they have this? Do they have that? Do they have that? By the time the doctor says they are clean, okay, you can bring this person into your house. I mean, we do those things. It's practical. So when it comes to a relationship, it comes to marriage, you also have to put certain things in place. And according to where you are, what you do varies. So, for instance, if you're single, that's where we start telling you all those details, like, hey, look before you leap. You have to start from the person. I mean, something that I thought about was just look at in my company, in my industry, we talk about people, processes, and equipment. Talk about the person. What kind of person is this person? Screen the person. What are their values? What are their beliefs? How do they behave? How do they treat people? How do they act under pressure? What do they turn to? Because you say, oh, the person is fantastic, but you know them in the best of circumstances. You know them when everything is fine.
But under pressure,
what do they do? What they turn to? Do they turn to alcohol? Do they turn to drugs? Do they turn to some other vices that are just not right? Do they collapse? Do they cave in when there's pressure? Or can they thrive? There's so many things to check.
I remember one movie I saw one time. He says people respond to pressure in two ways. Some people, when you apply pressure, they focus. Some other people, when you apply pressure, they fold.
I know you like those things.
Oh my goodness! Oh man, my goodness! So when you apply pressure, so in the process, so what I'm hearing you say is that falling in love is not something you stumble to. It's something you walk into.
It's something you should be deliberate about.
So it's not that you fell because they just swept you off your feet. No, you fell because you wanted to.
Of course, you allowed yourself to. Because you can decide. You can decide. I mean, yes, you can see. It's just like somebody from a distance. The person looks great, amazing, fantastic, and you're like, oh wow. And then as they're just getting close to you, you just feel like, like a waft. Like the breeze just blew.
Are you talking about body odor? Why you almost lost me there?
You know that all the dreaming you were dreaming, by the time that thing hits your nose,
you wake up.
You will tell yourself, this is not the person. It's a decision. So you're the one who allows yourself to be carried along. And that's because you have decided to disengage or disable your brain, the part that helps you to be objective about these decisions.
Okay, so I keep thinking about this, the fact that really a lot of people have been hurt. In fact, there was one event we had recently, and someone asked a question, and that question broke my heart. And the lady said, I don't even know what it means to fall in love. So if we say love hurts, are we going to be able to say what does it even really mean to fall in love? Before you now fall, I'm now wound.
See, some people will say, I guess depending what are people is even saying in the chat today. I don't have my large screen for us to see together what's going on, but if you see anything,
you need to come back. You need to come back there. But Oba Yusuf, I hope I pronounce your name. Oba Yusuf, I hope I pronounce your name well. I believe in the relationship of love. We are bound to hurt each other, but the best way forward is forgiveness. That's what Oba is saying. Yes, that the best way forward is forgiveness. Ayara Luxon said, "Fall in love." I still wonder where that expression came from.
Maybe somebody set trap for somebody and the person fell. That's how it came out. That would be something interesting to check.
Yeah, where I think I may just do that research, but you see, if we follow what Lucky is saying, right, and what Ayara is saying, the concept of falling in love already tells you that if you fall and nobody catches you, you go wound. So if it's true, if you fall and nobody catches you, you go wound. So it presupposes that in the process of love, in doing love, the reason people get hurt is that somebody is falling and nobody is catching them.
And
that
falling thing just speaks of like you've lost control, and maybe that's why people just feel, oh, I have no control, and they just allow it.
No, but honestly, when you are in love, do you actually have control?
See now.
See, a friend of mine. Okay, you answer, but because there's the way the thing is doing. You are very organized. I'm just talking as the thing is coming. A friend of mine used to say that when a man is in love, another mumu is born. So if another mumu is born, how can
the mumu have control?
How can the mumu have control? Can the mumu have control?
So honestly, some people will say, "Oh, this woman stuff." Now I don't even know, because me, I wanted to say that when you are falling in love, you have to be keeping track of how you are falling, so that when you fall 1 meter and you see certain things, you stand up and tell yourself, "This falling is enough." Fall with your eyes open. It's how you fall. Maybe they should talk about how you fall. Some people when they're falling, they'll just fall with eyes closed, like, oh my goodness. But
they fall as if they're under anointing.
Maybe when you want to fall your own fall, you have to be checking. Okay, if I'm falling, where will I put my hand so that I don't break my head? Where will I put my leg? How can I brace during this fall? And maybe even look for, maybe you should have something holding you so that you can hold that thing and pull yourself back up.
Okay, all right. Adeumi P. So, Uncle Peace, the word love is so wrongly interpreted. I agree. Love is not about marriage, yes. Love is not necessarily about benefits, yes. Love is not about what you stand to gain, yes, again. Love is not about you, but otherwise. Uncle Peace, you have to finish this statement. You have to tell us, because he has said what love is not. We have to know what love now is. Faith Patrick says, I agree with Mrs. B. I met one guy that I liked and was really attracted to, but when I saw we didn't have the same values, I had to consciously decide not to like him.
Exactly.
So it means that
thank you very much.
So addressing and talking about the issues that we're looking at, in talking about hurt, in talking about pain, and to say the truth, people really have been hurt because of this whole love. And like we are beginning to see from the different things that have been talked about in the chat, not everybody really know what love is. So people have been hurt in love genuinely. We will get to that in the second half of our conversation, right? But a lot of the people that were saying they were hurt because they fell in love, it was something else they fell for. Do you understand?
I understand what you're saying.
You fell for a fine guy. Doesn't necessarily mean you love him. It's just that he checked your boxes.
He checked the box of fineness.
You checked the box of fineness. He has six pack. Some of us now, it's only one that we have. There's only one pack. One guy said that people that have six pack, most of them don't have what one pack people have. One pack people are hustling to make money so that they can keep everything. Six pack people are hustling to keep the distance. So it's very hard for you to get the two at once. So if you are looking for the two at once, you have to keep checking.
Or maybe initially you get six pack, and then when you now start trying to make money,
it becomes one. Exactly. So that's how it's going. But the truth is, sometimes people fall for the wrong things, and guys too have wisened up in being able to cruise babes, right? Because one guy said, any man can sweep any lady off her feet. He just needs the right broom. So some ladies have been swept off their feet, but in the process of sweeping, the person knocked head for ground, bam, is hot. And you say, what happened? Oh, because I gave him my heart, he broke it.
Yeah, so that's why I was on the journey to talking about singles and their own checks, because singles, they have their own and theirs is relatively easy. Check the person. After you finish checking the person, check that you are following the process or the procedure, all the legal, all the traditional, all the religious, the obligations, the things that they have said you should check, the things that you have been asked to do, premarital counseling and so on and so forth. Do those things. It might look like, all this process, please, I don't need it. I have what I have found is beyond all these processes and so on. But really, those processes will do a lot for you. Just do what is required. Go through. There are checks in there to help you, to at least to bring other people, third party, into the conversation, so that where love has blinded you, or you have gotten involved in certain things that have kept you from being able to be objective anymore, you can have the help of third party in providing some kind of checks, some kind of pause button, some kind of breaks, while you iron out certain issues. Then check for equipment, check for tools. What do you need in a marriage? You need to have certain things before you start talking about we're going to get married. Where's the house you're going to live in? How are you going to earn money, and so on and so forth? Are you financially independent, and so on? Check all of those things. They are important. When you have done all your screening, and of course, when you're checking, now this is a critical issue, Bobby, this one. These red flags matter. Some people think that it is just about likes and dislikes. It's just about preferences. They don't know that it's about survival. These red flags matter.
Okay. So go there. About survival. So,
because when you tell somebody red flags, they just think, oh, well, I can deal
with
it.
No. Wait. No, let's tell.
I said,
what red flag?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
What's the red flags? Because when you say red flags, some people would think that
red flags
Nigerian
are those issues. You know how they see red, danger, the one that should make like the one that should make you say, okay, I need to stop and check. Oh, there's a problem here. Red is like caution. Okay,
so clarify.
So, yes, so in relationships, for instance, those things that you find that are going to impact you negatively, that that you cannot stand these things in your life or in your space or your relationship or your marriage, certain things that they don't jive with you and they are at the core, they are critical. Those are red flags.
Okay.
Example.
That was going there.
You stand for truth. You believe people should be honest all the time. And then you go into a relationship with somebody and the guy or the lady is lying left, right, and center. You can't even trust anything they say. One moment they tell you, I am this. The next moment they say, oh, actually, I didn't mean, no. You didn't hear me right. What I meant was, and you're thinking, and you're beginning to think, did he say, did he not say? Did I hear or did I not hear? Confusion everywhere. Or maybe you believe in having an environment that is clean, the air is clean, everything is, right. And then you now go and marry somebody who is smoking like a chimney and so on. Or maybe you believe money should be, managed in a certain way, invested, saved, and so on. And then the other person believes blow it as it is coming, because today, you don't even know if you will see tomorrow, just as it's coming, spend it today. No.
Okay. So for me, what I'm hearing you say is that especially for singles that are not in that are not married yet, when you are in relationship, you must be able to say, what are the things that I can live with and what are the things I can't live without. So the things I can't live without
and things I can't live with, things I can't stand,
those are the things I can't live without. They're the things that are critical to me. So there are the things I can live with, the ones I can manage. There are the things I can't live without. Those ones
I can't live without are the things you must have.
Yes, there are the things you must have.
But then there are the things that you don't even want to smell. You don't even want it in your space. Do you understand? So the things you can live with, you can condone. The things you can't stand, can't live with, can't tolerate, don't want in your space at all.
So those are the red flags.
So, but some people think it's not preference, so it's survival. Because if you go and this thing, people always think, oh, it will get better. I don't know why some people think that when you get married to somebody, the person will get better. How does I do? Just saying the word I do just transform you and make you better?
Yeah, you are doing.
Most of the time, people get worse. You know why? It's not necessarily that they were pretending. It's just that they have settled into a comfort zone. You know how you get into a place and you're doing, some people call it initial grab, if you're doing certain things, right? You're putting your best foot forward. Like I wrote in husband material, put your best forward. Then by the time you get married, the other foot starts to show.
And then you now find out that the other foot is limping.
The other foot is smelling.
Short.
The other foot is smelling. So people just generally settle. So things don't necessarily get better after you get married. The natural order, the natural progression is things get worse. Example, somebody who before you thought, oh, she's perfect, she's prim and proper, she always looks nice, everything well arranged. You will wake up and see that her hair is scattered. Maybe you see that the eyelashes that they fixed have started coming off. Before, you never saw that. You start to see certain things, how they look when they are not wearing all the everything.
The packaging.
Exactly. You start seeing people without makeup.
And
you now start seeing some people in singlets and boxers. Some people that before you never saw that. You start seeing all sorts of things you were not seeing before. And this is just in things you see. Then talk about behavior. Some people just settle. So things don't on the average it gets
progressively
worse rather than better. Do you understand? So you need to. Sometimes people have a serious life-changing encounter. That could make them change for the better. Well, those are few and far between. So don't go hoping that this person is like this, I can manage this.
So what I'm hearing you say is that things don't necessarily get better because you marry.
Yes.
For them to get better, you have to consciously make the effort.
And it is very hard work. So don't go and marry somebody and be saying he has these flaws, but I can work on him and change him.
But Babi, I can pray that he will change. And how about if I pray very hard?
Well, I will advise you, if you want to pray that he should change before. So at least see the change before you say I do. See the change before you say I do. So we've talked a lot about singles. Singles really pay attention to these details. Now, what if you're already married?
And singles, pay attention to the details and take the opportunity to go and read husband material.
Yes.
No, any single that is on this, that watches this platform, and you go and marry, and you didn't read husband material. See, by the time you come and meet me, I will put you under my professional. I won't deal with you as a single that I used to talk to before. I will just tell you, my time now, because I'm very, very busy. I'm a very busy guy. I'll just tell you my time now. Start charging you in dollars per hour. So, in order for me not to charge you in dollars per hour, read the book now. It's not cost. It's in naira. But it's on Amazon too. For those people that want to do dollars, it's in naira. Read the book and borrow yourself sense so that you don't make mistakes that will cost you tomorrow. Because we are counselors, and of course we can actually take you on a counseling case and charge you for our services. But really, it would be better if you just save yourself. But now to the married people.
Yes. When you're married. You're married now and you have the ring on your finger and you have signed somewhere that you and this person are connected.
So, but sorry, before you go there, I want to take some comments. From the last place we stopped. Peace says, to some, love is to them lost. Okay, lost. Emotional something, butterfly something. I like. To some, it is materialism. Yes. To some, it is how tall or how short. Yes, that's where we spoke about the 6 packs. To some, it is a good job. To some, it is beautiful accommodation. He lives in a fine house. So there's a lot of and there's Christian Tay. Greetings from Abuja. We salute you back all the way from this part of the world. We salute you. We say greetings. Yeah. So I think Peace now came back to complete his definition. Okay. Yes, Uncle Peace. He says, my definition of love is giving, care, friendship, relationship, communion, dedication, commitment, togetherness, and sacrifice. He had to end with sacrifice. Sacrifice is never easy. Sacrifice must come with pain. Let me continue. God, who is love, never wanted anything for himself. He gave all, including himself, to die on the cross. Uncle Peace, some people will fight you for this definition that you are giving. So are you saying that when two people are in love, both of them will just be giving? So who is collecting now? But his definition is valid.
Yes,
but
yes, and you're talking about who is collecting, and this is that just leads me to a very important point, which is that really this whole thing should be a mutually beneficial relationship.
But please, for the sake of those of us that went to night school, can you break it down?
If it's biology, they'll say symbiosis.
Oh,
yes. So in other words, this person should gain and this person should gain. Both people should gain. It's like scratch my back, I scratch your back.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
Which is why, as a single, you should check that is happening. And even when you get married, you should try to ensure that is happening. But you see where the problem comes. That one person might say, I am absolutely in love. And that one person is completely giving. And if the one person is fortunate, the other person is reciprocating. So it's almost as if we are trying to outdo each other with who is going to give more. But I'm giving, you're giving, I'm getting, you're getting. We are both happy. But what happens when one person is giving and the other guy has left the building? He just collects and walks out. She collects and walks out. And is going to give to somebody else. Going to give to somebody else somewhere else. So it's not turning back to give for it to be mutually beneficial. Either it's going to give somewhere else, or probably it's just saying, I'm just happy collecting. I love all that I am getting. I'm not necessarily going to give it to anybody else. I'll just stay here all by myself and enjoy all that you are showering and not give anything back. In which case, this one person who is giving and giving and giving starts to feel drained, starts to feel neglected, starts to feel cheated,
starts to feel hurt.
Starts to feel hurt. But you're married. What do you do? What do you do? You know? So when it comes to the part of marriage, I mean, the things that you need to do are another level. Some of it you've already talked about when you're single. But by the time you get married, you need to layer on other things. You need to build in some other things. You know, when you're talking about the person, as a person, what can you do? And really, you talk about the things that you have control over. Because I can't control you. I'm married to you now. I cannot come and say, I am going to make my husband do this and that.
But people used to say, do you want water?
I'm going to change my husband.
Do you want water?
I'm fine.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Because we are talking about giving, and let them not say we are doing show now. My wife is talking. I didn't give her water. And that's but that's just by the way. But back to what you're saying, right? When people are married and you've gotten into the marriage, maybe you did your checks before, maybe you didn't do them, but people have gotten into marriage and we're hearing different cases, we're hearing different people, you know, we're hearing people, someone that you know, you spend some years with this person, but then we get into marriage and all of a sudden something happens, the person changes. Because people do change.
Things happen and people change. Yeah?
People change. So how do you deal with the changes that changes the whole love relationship? As in the changes are just changing all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, there's the part where you work on yourself, right? Because you can't control the other person. I think I need water. Sorry, are you going
please
to get
let me get you.
Let me
get you water.
So
they will say I also gave.
Yes,
I'm giving. Please, let me get water for her.
Thank you. So, number one, the person, you have to talk about yourself. What are you going to? How are you going to deal with the situation? How are you going to handle yourself in that situation?
Yeah. So,
and this is where you start looking at how are you going to deal, how are you going to respond. You know, some people, this is where things like having a healthy self-esteem comes in, having healthy self-worth comes in, not being completely dependent on someone to make you happy comes in. Because there are certain, you know, I talked about levels. There are different levels. There are certain levels that you can actually manage, in quote, by just being able to deal with these issues. Like, I have my own way of making myself happy. I'm not depending on my husband to make me happy. I'm not depending on my husband to keep me excited. I have my own way to bring about some excitement. I'm not sitting down saying I'm bored because my husband has gone out, so I'm bored. I want him to be with me all the time. No, I have ways to keep myself engaged, entertained, and so on and so forth. So there's the part where you do this is at some level. But there's a level that it will get to where it will be obvious that in spite of all your self-worth and keeping yourself engaged and knowing how to make yourself happy and keeping yourself entertained, it will be obvious that this man is absent.
So, Babi, before you go there, there's someone that said something that, oh, Jimoski, hi, welcome. You are late. You are late. So just scroll back and see what we've talked about. We can move on. Someone, Christian says, definition of love: God is love. Simple. So we need God's love to be able to love. Christian, I don't disagree with you, but practically, what does that mean? I would like you to type it for us. Type it for us in this, because a lot of people will ask, okay, so we say God is love. How does that help me in a relationship where I am giving, and the other person is not reciprocating? Instead, that person is praying. That person is a prayer warrior. Because we have prayer warriors that have terrible character. Prayer warriors that are hurting people in their relationship because they think that just by praying, because I am right with God, to hell with every human.
Well, this is the interesting thing about Jesus, right? Because he's the one who said, when you want to go and pray, check first if you have offended somebody, then go back and settle. But so even in that statement, he acknowledges the fact that there are people who will come to do religious activities, to go through routines that make them look pious and all of that. But they have neglected something which is even more important. Because when he says that they say what's the greatest commandment, it says love the Lord your God and then love your neighbor. That supersedes every other thing. Do you understand?
So that means in the service to God, there must be service to humanity.
Yes. And
so
that means that
in the expression of the relationship, in the expression of love of God, there must be love for men.
Yes, there must be. So you cannot say, oh, because I am right with God, that's fine. And you cannot assume that because you are praying and so on, or because you are religious, or because you're showing up in church and so on, that means you're a perfect human being. No, you have to be able to see yourself through the eyes of the people around you. How are they feeling you? How are they seeing you? How are you touching them? Are you mean? Are you harsh? Are you rude? Are you impatient? Are you unkind? Are you selfish? You need to be able to check these things. People need to be able to relate with you and feel, if you so claim to be close to God, let them feel the love of God radiating through you to them. But if you are claiming, oh, I do all of these things, and yet somebody is feeling so is being so badly treated by you, then you're not doing well. Then you fall in the group of people who Jesus says, before you come and pray, please go and settle with your neighbor. Go and sort out that issue that you have with your neighbor. And your neighbor in this case can be the person you are in a relationship with.
Please drink water. So I'm trying to say that from what you have said, then it means that if we truly are going to love, we must be able to treat other people the way we treat ourselves. So the reason a lot of hurt and pain is happening is because people are not sacrificing, they are selfishizing.
Which one is that one again? Now let me tell you something. This thing called love, okay? Some people try to let's put it like this. Some people try to use God and religion to blanket and cover a lot of things. But you see, at the core, love, when you see love, you know it. And love doesn't have a religion.
Talk to me, mommy.
Love is Love is not a Christian. Love is not a Muslim. Love is not Hindu. Love is not. Love is the expression of God. Love is God, just like a person said. And how is God when he comes through? If you're looking at Jesus and you're using him as your representation of God, everywhere he went, he was doing good. When he got to a place and it was dark, there was light. When people were sick, they were healed. When people were hungry, he fed them, and so on. There are all these expressions, right? You didn't come to him and get judged and beat down and humiliated and so on. Do you understand? So that expression, that just basic expression, when you see it, you know it. So sometimes people make it look as if, oh, it's only if you are Christian, or it's only if you are, this whole thing of making it look as if, oh, it's only God that can help you to love, and once you have God, then you have love.
No,
and so on and so. Do you understand? But the thing is, the expression of it is, it's why I have a problem with that, is that the people now disregard the fact that there are some just basic things like kindness, basic things like honesty, basic things like care, concern for the other person. Jesus said it. Love your neighbor as yourself. Do unto others what you have them do to you. These things are so simple and are so basic. And if we can work with something that simple, these are expressions of love. So when you are in that marriage, you will know, I should speak kindly to this person rather than belittle them, make them feel worthless, tell them they are useless, tell them in fact you're just fortunate that that I married you, and so on. You know this person needs attention, needs care. You don't neglect and just abandon them and so on.
I think you need to stay there a little more, especially for married people, right? That place where you said that the expression of God in the little things, like kindness, it just, for me, it just begins to see maybe a lot of the problems we have, and a lot of the pain that people are experiencing, is that if you actually thought of the person the way you think of yourself, maybe there are people that hate themselves, so they are just sadists, so they just no, those are the exception to do. But if you thought of the other person like, this thing I just did to her or to him, if someone did it to me, how would I feel?
When you shout and abuse and call people names, how, if they did it to you, how would you feel? When you know this person is sick right now, and if I were ill, I would like someone to come and take me to the hospital, or find out if I have eaten, or make sure I'm taking my medication, or just sit there and tell me sorry. Or if I have a fever, get a tepid sponge and stuff like that. Whatever it is, whatever kind of care is required, just show care. Just be there. Sometimes it's not even saying more. Just be there. How would you like to be treated? Are you treating the other person like that? Now, so these things are so basic. You don't need to be a leader in your religion for you to be able to express this. Even at the very basic human level, these things should be. So you see some people, they do not. In fact, you see some atheists who are happily married. But they are atheists. They say there's no God, but they're happily married. But if you look at their core, if you look at their way of life,
they're
see
exhibiting principles.
You see these expressions of kindness.
So, Baby, this place that you just went is something that I maybe one day God will help us to teach it. This thing that we discussed about the other time, the law of love. The law of love. These are because like that, that guy, who is that guy? It was then Christian. He brought out something that really we need to break up, and because it is wide. But we just touched on it, that the principles that God has left us, they are the principles that are running this planet. So even unbelievers, when they apply it, it works.
Yes.
So if you say you are a believer, and you step out of this building, 42nd floor, you are going to drop like a stone because there's a principle at work. It's called the law of gravity, right? It's called the law of gravity. But if you apply the law, whether you are a believer or not, and so that's why I like that thing you said, that love is not a Christian, love is not religious, love is not a Muslim, love is not religious, but it is shown in the expression of this, is an expression of God that shows up in the little acts of kindness to the other human being. Let me take some more comments. Some more comments. Peace says the secret of marriage is that both should do same to each other. I wish I can speak directly. Please, peace, please speak. What we quarrel about is what we are and what we are made of. Yes, what we can change and what we can't. We are not both perfect, and we need to accept ourselves the way we are. We must get better with time and change what we can, and also live with what we can't change. My goodness, peace.
So, but you see here, even when you're peace, thank you so much for that comment, because this is where even when people are not perfect, you can see that the other person is working to be better. But
when one person is working,
and the other one has left the building, or if you feel like, oh, this marriage, we are going through a tough time, I want us to I would like us to do something about it. I am willing, but you are not willing. It becomes a problem. How can you say let's fight for the marriage? How are you fighting alone when the other person is not involved? Do you understand?
And since we are speaking in context of married people, marriage is not something you do alone. No, you can't marry alone.
As they say, it takes two.
It takes two. It's a weight. But like Peace just mentioned, if both of you say we are going to work it, trust me. Principles, you apply the principle, it will work. Nobody said it would be easy. In fact, one of my children once said, I don't want to do this thing because it's going to be difficult. I told him, I said, my brother, even failure is difficult. Have you even failure is hard. Failure is hard, but let me continue. Jimoski said, most people are not putting a lot of sacrifice nowadays in relationship, but yet they claim to be in love. True. Ayara says, using God to scam people. Okay. Like God said, you are my wife. Christian says, thank you, ma'am. You just explained it. True. People do fake love in the name of God. But that not, but okay, I guess it's trying to say, but that's not genuine. Yeah. But if you really have God's love, there is no way you will fake it. I agree, my brother, because you will have the fear. God bless you.
Yes,
you are blessed. In fact, receive blessing now, because you will have the fear of God in you. Because human love do fade. Yeah. God bless you, Christian. God bless you.
You see that place in that talks about God's love being shared abroad. Yeah. Really, if you are a Christian, loving should be easier for you, right? But you know why I say if, because there are some people who claim, who have the title, but you don't see the character. And that's why even in the Bible, we are told, by their fruits you shall know them. You can't just assume that just because someone carries the label, it means that they are as they should be. You need to check the fruit. So when you find somebody who really, truly, right, from the fruit you have identified that this person, and this is part of what you check when you're single.
Yeah.
Is this guy a fruitful Christian? Is he a label Christian? Is he a tagged Christian? Or is he the act? Is it part of his character, his nature? Is he really being like Christ? These are things that you check. For us, it's religion that may check that box, as in that may help to craft that person, as in person following the precepts of the kingdom and so on. For some other people, it's the society, it's their culture that teaches them that kind of respect. I mean, you go to some countries where they teach you just basic care for your neighbor.
Yeah.
Be kind.
Be kind.
Greet. show
respect elders, get up for elders in the bus.
So many different things, simple things. And if you
I'm not sure that still happens in Nigeria, but let's
if
go.
You apply that in your home, it just makes a difference. So yes, so we were talking about before because we're getting to the end. We have 5 minutes left.
Really? We just started now.
We have 5 minutes left. If you are married and you are in addition to doing all these things to try to make your marriage work, if you're in a situation where the other person truly has left the building, and they're not involved, they're not concerned, or maybe they're even there to make your life a living hell, what are the things you can do to minimize your risk or to protect yourself? One thing that is so critical, your support system. Don't let go of your support system. Some people get, in the name of falling in love, throw every other person away, build walls around themselves, and there is only them and that other person said.
And let me use this opportunity to say this place you just came to. For those hearing me, love does not exist in isolation. Love does not exist in isolation. If your particular love has to cage you and put you and one person, only two of you in the universe exist, then my brother, my sister, something else is going on there.
So you need to, right from when you're single, develop support systems and build on them as you progress through marriage. You need them for different things. You need them for the sense of community in the event that the other person is not even present anymore. You need them for community. You need them for intervention in some cases if the marriage gets to the point where it's abusive and someone needs to get in and get you out. You need them for that. You need them for care. I need a break. Me and my husband, we need to go on a date, just the two of us, who will watch the kids.
Just the two of us.
Who will watch the kids. You need support systems. So you need to develop them. You need to nurture them. And because it also has to be symbiotic. It also has to be mutually beneficial. They need to gain, you need to gain. So work on building those. Don't throw them away. And then one other critical one is financial independence. Please, everyone needs to be financially independent for different reasons. I mean, in the worst case, worst case is you lose a loved one, or you lose your spouse or something. What do? Do you just become a wreck because you were completely dependent on the person? That's the worst case. But even apart from that, if something happens, they go through a rough patch, financial independence is important because you can come through and help the person. Or what if the marriage gets abusive and you need to be able to get out? Financial independence.
See something somebody said. See something. A case piece said, "How long can I stay in marriage when I see that my man is never going to see me live my dream? My marriage is 17 years now. How much longer should I stay? I mean, if it hasn't changed in 17 years, will it change in the next 34? No, but even though we're laughing about it, but the laugh is not. I get the laugh. It's not a joking laugh. It's not a joking laugh. It's serious.
17 years.
It's 17 years. This is something that we really need to have a conversation. We need to speak. It's a counseling case, right? It's a counseling case. It's something that you need someone to walk with you, hold your hands, and walk you through. Because you need to be able to live your dream.
Yes,
the beauty about marriage, I've spoken about this in several different places. The thing about marriage is that marriage is supposed to make the people that are in the union better. That it's the power of marriage comes when it fulfills that place that says one will chase 1,000, two will put 10,000 to flight. Man, if your marriage is designed, if both of you are working at it to bring out the best in each of you, that is, both of you are living your dreams in your lifetime. And that's what the marriage is supposed to do.
It's supposed to be that if I was doing great on my own, by the time I get married, I should be fantastic. If I was aeroplane, by the time I marry you, should be rocket. In fact, rocket.
Okay. So if that's not happening, and even though we said that love hurts, when the love, when that love, when you come into the marriage environment, because both of you are open and vulnerable to each other, you know where the hurts are. But because of that love that is making you see, love is what makes me know her weakness and not took a knife in that place. Instead, by knowing her weakness, I cover her weakness. I cover her back so that when people come, all they can see is her front. I don't know if you understand. I don't know if you understand. So it's a counseling case.
It's not doing what it should do for you. Please, you have to actually sit down with the counselor.
Yeah,
and talk about it, because we don't have the whole picture here. So
we can't say, oh, it's
we
this,
have heard
what you have said. Exactly.
What you have said is serious enough for us to say, please talk to a counselor where they can sit down and get all the details from you, and hopefully bring your spouse into the picture if they will be willing to, and then work
oh my goodness, time is. But somebody asked a question again. Say, what's the difference between separation and divorce? And I know these questions come up even when we have marriage seminars. The separation and divorce, there's a lot of semantics around it, but it's
separation. You are separated.
You
have moved away temporarily
or whatever.
And most of the time, the intent of separation is to check: can we come back together?
Can we work? Can we still work?
Yes.
Are we still going to work?
Is this the point where we go our separate ways?
So
and then going after, if you have made the decision to go separate ways, then you make it official and go through the legal process,
which is when the divorce takes place. So our time is up.
Time
is up. But before we go, just a quick look at the main highlights. We said hurts exist simply because there are no perfect people. Be practical in love. Don't fall blindly. For singles, more especially. Love should be mutually beneficial, not one-sided. Yeah. We also said that your piety, your religiousness must show in how you treat your fellow men and women. Yes, it's in the kindness. She dropped one word there. She said, love is not religious, but an expression of God in basic things like kindness to others. Right. She said sometimes love is just showing up and being there. My goodness. What? Hashtag.
I like the way it captured
just showing up and being there. Hallelujah. And then finally, love does not exist in isolation. Yeah. Please, these things we're saying, send them to people, share them with your friends, because these are true things. These are things that life has taught us. We have lived it. We're experiencing it. We're just we're not very old like that, right? We're not old at all, actually. It's just that we have just been doing this marriage thing for a few years, but God has been helping us, and we have just been seeing the things that we know. We say, oh, these are like common sense things that we're applying, and God is helping us, Do you understand? So even in the midst of the hurt, even when you hurt the other person, because of that love of God, like Christian says, because of that love of God, you are able to just go back and say, maybe I could have done this differently. So yeah, over to you, Babi. It's your...
Wow, it's 3 minutes past, and in fact over here it's a new day. it's
actually 3 minutes past 12.
Yeah, so it's Sunday here.
Yeah, it's Sunday.
And well, we're so happy that you stayed with us to the end of this session, and we are so happy we got to share this with you. And thanks so much for your input, for everything you said, all the comments, everything. Please remember to share. Remember to subscribe if you haven't done that already. Please tell others to encourage them to subscribe, especially people things like this will be helpful too.
Yes. And before they go, please, if you have not gotten a copy of Husband Material, that's it right there. At the end of the show, there'll be a link in the comment section. You can just click it. It's what's it called?
It's a great story, and it's a great guide.
It's a great guide. There's a work like this one is like your own personal counselor walking you through your issues, conflict resolution. In fact, I thought there's something there. Yes, there's something there that shows you some of these things. some of the things that it talks about, rich content, you know, that helps you walk through certain issues in your relationships. This is the workbook. Like we said, it's your own personal coach. And these are all the places where you can get husband material. So please
follow the link to get yours if you haven't done so already. And like we say, common sense
is not so common.
Bye.
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 Good night. Good night.